I think I've been pretending for so long that I forgot how to tell the truth, even to myself. I need to put this somewhere because in real life, I'm surrounded by people who think I'm lucky. People who look at him and say things like, "You hit the jackpot," with those dreamy voices like they're imagining themselves living my life instead of me. The truth is, I spend every day trying to figure out how to leave without destroying someone who did nothing wrong. He bought a ring. I found it by accident last week. And while most people would cry from happiness, I felt my stomach twist inside out. I wish I could say I was shocked or emotional in a romantic way. Instead, it was like watching a life I don't want being wrapped and packaged for me, a life I'll be expected to wear proudly. There's no abuse, no cheating, no screaming matches. If anything, it's the opposite. He's good. That's what makes this impossible to explain to anyone. He's a decent man, helpful, stable, thoughtful in the way people write about on relationship advice threads, as if those qualities guarantee happiness. He remembers to buy groceries before we run out. He notices when I'm uncomfortable and tries to fix it. If my back hurts, he brings me pain patches without asking. When we travel, he packs snacks. He wakes up early every morning and makes coffee for both of us, even if I'm still asleep. These are the traits most people beg for in a partner. They assume that having someone like this means you must be happy. They assume that love is about kindness, routines, and the absence of cruelty. No one thinks about the possibility that kindness can feel like a cage when you can't reciprocate. No one understands why leaving someone who loves you feels worse than leaving someone who hurts you. We met through mutual friends. Everyone instantly liked him. He's easy to like. The kind of person who is calm without being cold, funny without trying, and useful without bragging. He knows how to fix things, how to handle problems, how to stay steady in chaos. He's the type of man who becomes the glue of a group without anyone noticing when it happened. I remember one of my closest friends pulling me aside early on. She whispered, like she was giving me life-changing advice, "Don't screw this one up." And everyone nodded like they'd witnessed a blessing. So I didn't screw it up. I played the role expected of me. During our first year together, I waited for something to feel wrong. Something obvious, a bad habit, a cruel tone, an inconsistency, a reason I could store for later and use as justification. But nothing ever came. Moving in together felt logical, practical. Everyone said we were perfect. Even my parents, who normally don't approve of anything, were quietly pleased. Somewhere along the line, love turned into routine, and routine turned into something I can't name without sounding ungrateful. He talks about our future like it's a fact. Kids, a house with a yard, matching suitcases for vacations, a dog, a golden retriever specifically because it matches our vibe. Our vibe. But I realized something recently. I'm not unhappy because he's bad. I'm unhappy because there's no space for me outside of us. Every decision is ours. Every plan is ours. Everything about my life is ours, even the parts that used to belong only to me. There's no me here. There's only us, and I feel like a placeholder inside my own life. He plans our future the way he plans our weekend errands. Efficiently, thoroughly, with calendars and spreadsheets. He believes security is the best form of love. Maybe he's right for some people. But security without freedom feels like being wrapped in bubble wrap and told it's affection. Security without freedom feels like a padded cell. I tried to imagine saying yes to him, and I couldn't breathe. Not metaphorically, I actually couldn't inhale deeply. My body refused. It felt like trying to breathe through fabric, heavy, suffocating. Wrong. And I know what everyone would say. Marriage is work, feelings change, no one is excited forever. But I haven't been excited in a long time, and pretending is slowly suffocating whatever life I have left inside me. The day I found the ring, I wasn't snooping. I was putting something away in his drawer, pushing past old receipts and tangled chargers. There it was, a small box tucked underneath extra phone cables. The kind of hiding spot chosen not because it's clever, but because it's intimate, close, casual. It didn't need to be hidden well. I was never supposed to look. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I closed the drawer, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the floor. And the first thing that came to mind wasn't, should I marry him? It wasn't, what if I'm making a mistake? It was, how do I leave without breaking him? Because that's the worst part. If he were cruel, if he were careless, if there was any clear hurtful reason, it would be easy. People understand leaving when there's pain, but they judge leaving when there's love. They don't see the difference between being loved and wanting to love back. Two different things. People think endings are loud, full of explosions and ultimatums. But sometimes endings are quiet. They happen in silence between the beats of a normal day. They happen while someone is making you coffee, while someone is folding laundry, while someone is talking about a future you can't imagine living. He's been extra sweet lately, telling our friends he has a surprise for me soon. Every time he smiles at me with excitement, I feel like I'm suffocating under his affection, like kindness is a net tightening around me. He deserves someone who looks back at him the way he looks at me. Someone who loves him, not someone studying rental prices in another browser tab when he's in the shower. Not someone quietly downsizing her belongings so that one day moving out looks normal. Not someone slowly buying back her independence, item by item, like freedom is something you purchase in installments.
A few days after I found the ring, he came home with this glow on his face, like he'd just accomplished something important. It wasn't the usual content smile he wears when he fixes something in the house or cooks a meal just the way I like. It was something heavier, intentional, triumphant. He sat next to me on the couch, leaned in a little too close, and said, "I made a call today." His voice was low, excited, controlled, like he was sharing classified information. I assumed he meant something related to his job, maybe a project, maybe travel plans. I kept my reaction neutral because I never know how to react properly anymore. Everything he says feels loaded now, like every casual statement is a step closer to a future I can't breathe in. Then he smiled wider and said, almost whispering, "You'll love it." He paused, like he wanted me to ask. But I didn't. I just nodded and said something like, "That's good." I didn't give him the curiosity he expected. Maybe a part of me was hoping he'd just drop it. He didn't. He pulled out his phone, scrolled a bit, and turned the screen toward me. It was a confirmational email. A booking. Deposit. For a wedding venue. Not a conversation, not a plan, not a hypothetical. A date. A location, a reservation, made without a proposal. He didn't even ask. He didn't even think he needed to. He made a decision about the rest of my life as if it was as simple as scheduling a dental appointment. "I couldn't believe it was available," he said. "We got so lucky. You have no idea how perfect it is." We booked it. We decided. We planned. But I hadn't done anything except exist long enough for him to choose for both of us. He kept showing me pictures of the venue like a real estate agent pitching a house I never asked to tour. I heard words, I saw his excitement, but everything inside me was numb, frozen. He talked about how the location is close to where our kids might go to school one day, how there's a scenic background that would make our first photos as husband and wife look like a movie, how the staff is professional, how the catering is customizable, how this place gets booked months in advance and we're lucky we got in. We didn't get in. He got in. He booked my future with a deposit and confidence. I kept nodding at the right pauses. I made noises that sounded like agreement, because pretending has become second nature. But the whole time, the words running through my head were, he already decided I'll say yes. He doesn't see me as someone who could say no. Not because he's controlling, not because he doesn't care, but because he believes he knows what's best for us. He assumes my future is something he can plan on my behalf. He thinks love gives him permission to choose for me. He doesn't realize that choosing for someone can be the quietest form of erasing them. As he spoke, he reached out and held my hand without looking, the way someone absent-mindedly grabs their phone or their keys, like it's a reflex, like it belongs there, like I belong there. My heart didn't feel warm. It felt like something was twisting it from the inside, like every beat was a reminder that my life is being built around me, not with me. Someone once said that the opposite of hate isn't love, it's indifference. I never understood that until now. This isn't cruelty, this is certainty. He doesn't question whether I want this. That's what scares me. There's no room for my feelings in a future that's already been booked. He spent the next few days talking to our friends. Casual conversations, half-whispered jokes, smart hints. I didn't hear everything, but I caught enough. They're all thrilled. They think he's being romantic. They think I'm lucky. They think it's adorable how he takes initiative. One of our friends even hugged me yesterday and said, "He's so in love with you, you're going to be the happiest bride." I smiled because it's easier than explaining that happiness and safety aren't the same thing. That being loved and wanting to love someone back aren't the same thing. That you can care for someone deeply and still suffocate in their certainty. They'll never understand that I'm not leaving because he's bad. I'm leaving because I don't want to disappear into someone else's dream. I've started packing differently now, quietly, strategically. Not like someone preparing to move, like someone trying to leave without leaving evidence. I've been taking things to my office, 1 or 2 items at a time. A shirt rolled tightly in my bag, a pair of shoes left under my desk, a few personal documents inside my work drawer. Small things that won't be noticed missing right away. It feels like smuggling pieces of myself out of captivity. I've been searching for apartments far enough away that I won't risk running into him, but not so far that I'll lose my job. Somewhere anonymous. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere I don't have to be us. I'm waiting for my next paycheck. Then I'll wait for one more, and then one more. I need enough to leave cleanly, without owing anyone anything, without asking for help. Most of all, without explaining myself.
The strangest part is that the more I prepare to leave, the more he seems convinced that our lives are aligning perfectly. He's relaxed lately, peaceful, like he's proud of himself for building a future I should be grateful to step into. He doesn't sense anything wrong. Why would he? There's no fighting, no distance, no change in my attitude. I've gotten too good at pretending. I know exactly when to smile. I know exactly how much enthusiasm to show without sounding fake. I know how to stand close enough to him to look in love. Pretending requires strategy, but also restraint. Too much emotion looks suspicious. Too little looks distant. You have to hit the exact middle. Believable affection without attachment.
polite intimacy. People think lying requires acting, but it actually requires silence. He goes to sleep earlier than I do most nights. That's when I do most of my work. That's when I research new apartments, double-check rental agreements, calculate how much money I need to leave without turning back. I keep notes written in harmless titles like grocery list and electric bill comparison on my laptop. If anyone saw them, they'd look boring, safe, domestic. I've also started saving money on a separate card he doesn't know about, not because he controls finances, he doesn't, but because I don't want him to trace anything. I don't want withdrawals or transfers that might raise questions. I want my exit to look like I disappeared between normal days. I keep thinking about the proposal he's planning. I try to imagine him kneeling. I try to imagine my face, what it would need to do to look happy. I try to picture the moment the ring slides onto my finger. But every time I imagine it, something inside me freezes. Not fear, something colder. Something like dying quietly. Sometimes I think about what would happen if I told him the truth. If I sat across from him one night while he's cutting vegetables for dinner and said, "I don't want this." He would listen. He would ask questions. He would try to fix it. He'd ask what he did wrong. He'd ask what he could change. He'd take responsibility for something that isn't a mistake. That's why I can't tell him. He would try to solve me. I don't need solutions. I need space. He doesn't understand that trying to fix every problem is a way of controlling life, even love, even me. He believes love is making everything easier. I believe love should make you feel alive, not managed. He treats love like a safety net. I treat love like a place to breathe. He's building a home. I'm drowning in a future I never asked for. Every time he says, "our future," I feel like I'm disappearing. A few days ago, he started organizing a surprise trip for us in a few months. He didn't call it a honeymoon, but he didn't have to. It's scheduled exactly after the date of the venue booking. He said something like, "We'll need a break after everything." As if the next chapter of my life has already been confirmed and all I have to do is show up to play my role. That's when I realized something. He doesn't see marriage as a decision. He sees it as an obvious next step, an eventuality, a box to check. He's already ordering decorations for the proposal. I saw the packages on our doorstep last week. Boxes with neutral colors, handwritten labels, ribbon samples. He joked about how aesthetic everything will look. He kept asking if I liked rose gold or white gold better. I just said, they're both nice. People romanticize certainty. They call it devotion. They don't realize certainty can crush you if you're not the one choosing. I've been timing my exit. I'm waiting for the perfect wave of normalcy. A day when he leaves for work at the usual time. A day without suspicion or emotion or tension. A day when everything feels boring enough that my absence won't make sense immediately. I want to leave on a day that looks like any other day. I've planned almost everything except one final detail, what I will take and what I will leave behind. I won't take anything sentimental. It doesn't belong to me anymore. He'll think I forgot it. He'll keep it like a tombstone of something that never existed, the way he thought it did. I'll only take things that are necessary. Identity only. No memories. There won't be a note. If I write one, he'll search for answers. He'll examine every sentence for hidden meaning. He'll think there's a puzzle to solve. He'll think he can fix it. I don't want him to fix anything. I don't want closure. Closure requires contact. Contact invites negotiation. Negotiation implies that I owe him something. An explanation, a discussion, a final scene. I don't. He'll wake up one morning and think I left early for work. He'll text later and it will deliver. He'll assume I'm busy. Hours will pass. He'll call. I won't answer. Not because I hate him, but because there is nothing left to say. He won't know when it happened. He won't know which day was the beginning of the end. He'll think there must have been a sign. There wasn't. There was only silence. People say the hardest part of leaving is the moment you walk away. They're wrong. The hardest part is returning things to normal long enough that you can disappear without leaving a trace of pain on the surface. The goodbye already happened in my mind. Now I just have to leave my body behind long enough to walk out the door. I can already picture it. I'll close the door gently, not slam it. Slamming is theatrical. I'll leave the apartment clean, the coffee mug rinsed, the bed made. Everything will look untouched. That's the cruelest kind of ending, one that looks like nothing ever happened at all. He'll think I'm coming back. He'll wait. He'll check his phone. He'll assume there must be a misunderstanding. He'll ask himself what went wrong. He'll never get an answer.